Kenan Shalom, Genesis 49 verse 26. The blessing of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. The Amplified Version says, the blessings of your father are greater than the blessings of my ancestors Abraham and Isaac up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, even on the crown of the head of him who was the distinguished one, and the one who is prince among separate from his brothers. So the Bible tells us that Joseph was distinguished one among his brothers. He was different, he was unique among his brothers because of the call of God upon his life. Joseph carried royalty. He was a regal man among his brothers. And therefore that brought separation among his brothers, because his brothers were jealous of him. They were annoyed and angry on him. And we see how he was separated from his brothers and taken to Egypt and became the prime minister of Egypt, and thereby became the source of blessing for saving Egypt and the nations and even his own brothers and family. And God sometimes separates us from our own family members, so that we can fulfill His call for our lives. And sometimes God can even separate us from our own church folks, from other believers, from other church folks, if they are immature or if they are in error, so that we fulfill His destiny and His call. And sometimes God can even separate us from our own friends, like we see in the case of David and Jonathan. David had to separate from Jonathan in order to be protected from Saul, and so that David could accomplish God's plan and destiny and purpose. So we see in Joseph's life that whatever Joseph went through wasn't rejection, but it was separation to be crowned. Separation is needed to be crowned. It would have been so painful for Joseph, away from his brothers, away from his nation, away from his family. But it was needed one for him to be crowned to fulfill God's purpose. So always remember that rejection or separation is needed to be crowned. So if you are going through rejection, child of God, son of God, daughter of God, if you are going through rejection, remember it is not rejection, but it is separation, so that you can fulfill God's plan and purposes for your life. Amen.